like NASCAR? Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative. Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative.
If you're a little over Cardi B and you're repulsed by the thought of Hogmaw, check out the Urban Conservative. Are you ready? If you think the earth is flat and always on that weird side of YouTube, check out the Urban Conservative. They'll set you straight.
If you're in a chasing dopey and you love salad fish and festival, check out the Urban Conservative.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast.
Yeah.
Of course, you're watching either on YouTube or Facebook at the Urban Conservative. We appreciate you checking with us as usual. Head to the tuconservative.com where you can support what we do, which is spread conservative policy ideas and candidates to our urban centers across this wonderful country of ours. You can support us on Cash App, $TU Conservative, or again, visit the website, tuconservative.com. Broski, what is the word?
Bird is the word. I just wanted to say that. I've never said bird is the word.
Unalive. No, you've never said that. But listen,
never
plug
said
away, plug away as you folks can see what's on your screen. Plug, bro. Go for it.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you, like me, want to make this country a better place, I need you to support what I am doing, which is running for the U.S. Congress 12th Congressional District, which is here in Mecklenburg County, city of Charlotte, North Carolina. I am working to make America better. Please support our campaign for U.S. Congress by visiting aliforcongress.com. We are focusing on three things, which is improving early childhood education, advancing opportunities for upward economic mobility, and ensuring our safety for our communities by closing the southern border, getting our immigration under control, and helping young people build a pathway to become law enforcement officers to protect their community. So again, aliforcongress.com is the website. Would love your support, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, I'm all duded up. I just left.
Yeah, no, I feel underdressed for this. I feel underdressed for the show, but an interesting show nonetheless.
Yeah,
I did a news story about the woman we're about to bring on the show, and very, very interesting story going on out in Trumbull, Ohio. I'm not even going to do a whole bunch of introducing. I am going to welcome for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, on the Urban Conservative Podcast, all the way from Trumbull County, Ohio. We are joined by Niki Frenchko. Good evening. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So we're going to dive right in here because I've been anticipating this interview for a few days. I've been all antsy about doing it. When I originally covered it for the newspaper, the more I read about it, the more I was like, oh, we got to get her on the show because, more and more people need to understand what you're going through out there, being that lone Republican, standing up for what you're standing up for. So if you don't mind, take a few minutes, give our audience the background. Who's Niki Frenchko? How did you get involved in politics? And then we'll start to get into the case.
Well, I'm Niki Frenchko. I'm from Warren, Ohio. I live in an inner city. That's why I like that you said the urban conservative, because I always say that I'm a city Republican, and we're built a little different, is what I say. So I started in Warren in high school. I joined the Army Reserves. They had a delayed entry program for people who knew that they wanted to serve. I joined during Desert Storm. My first drill back was their first drill home. Then I ended up going to Youngstown State University. I studied social work, got my bachelor's degree in social work, worked in mental health, and also I worked with senior citizens. I got married, had my first child at 20, ended up having four kids by the time I was 30. But in the meantime, through that period of my life, I also went on to get my master's degree in public administration because I loved government. I loved policy and administration, and I saw that you could make more of an impact on communities with, administratively, as opposed to just working individually with people. So from there, I went on to community development consulting and planning. I did my internship at the Planning Commission. Then for a period of time, I was substitute school teaching, got my real estate license, went to appraisal school, became a HUD 203K consultant, and then went over to CT Consultants, where I worked as a consultant for 9 different communities from the lake all the way down to West Virginia. I had wrote housing improvement strategies and community development, block grant, neighborhood stabilization, community, that community distress, that type of thing. And from there, I started investing in real estate. Never left my city. Have 3 houses on my street, and then I decided to run for office this year. I have to say, I did try it a long time ago. I was a young Republican back in the 90s, okay? And I was running as a Republican in the city of Warren, Democrat stronghold. We're that area where the steel mills all shut down. And everyone thought, I'm crazy for running as a Republican. You have to run as a Democrat if you want to win. And I wouldn't do it, I ran my Republican race. I lost. I ran a couple times. I came close to 0.5%. And then I packed it all up because I had a family, and I was like, well, this will never happen. Then I got re-involved by being on an advisory council where I saw that they were violating levy law and misrepresenting funds, basically lying on a federal grant application. And I saw that the Democrat Party chairman was trying to help a vendor who was a friend of him continue to get a multi-million-dollar contract without providing the services. So the name of the game was, let's get you this contract and we'll provide bare minimum services and then increase our profit margin. And I thought at that point in time, my kids are older, it's time for me to get back involved. So I put myself on the ballot once as an independent just to get my name ID back out there again, because I've been out of the loop for about 10 years. And then because I knew the next election I was going after that Democrat Party chairman, which I did, and I beat a 37, 38-year incumbent. He was the chairman of the party, and he had been an elected official since I think he was 18 or 19 years old. And that was a major blow. And of course, there was a lot of pushback because I was the lone Republican in Trumbull County.
Well,
probably there.
let me jump in here for the folks watching at home, just so y'all have an idea of what we're talking about. Trumbull County is in the far northeast portion of the state of Ohio, a little over 200,000 people. Near Warren is the Youngstown, Warren, Ohio is the metropolitan area there. Now, I've never been to Warren. I've been to, what is that? Chillicothe, Ohio. Been there one time. I had a car breakdown there, and it was winter, like dead of winter. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. But for those who don't know, what's Warren like? Like Warren, that whole county, like what's the makeup? Is it urban? Is it suburban? What's the real like feeling there?
That's a great question. So Trumbull County, they say that Ohio is the heart of it all. You know, Ohio is an actual representation of what we have in the entire United States. We've got urban areas, we've got rural areas, suburban, everything in between. And Trumbull County is actually a microcosm of Ohio. So we are the fourth largest land size county of the 88 counties in Ohio. We have a city, an inner city, we have rural, we have Amish community. So we have it all. We have everything from the inner city to suburbs that are a little wealthy. And then we have our suburban or rural areas where we have farmers. And it's just an accurate representation of the state, which is a nice representation of our country.
Dope. Okay, I was very curious about the makeup there as we get into talking about your story and the whole situation here. So, lone Republican on your county commissioners. Go ahead, Rock. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, by now everyone has obviously seen the video, but we're still gonna go ahead and we're gonna share the video. Where did I put it? I put it right here. I put the video right. Nope, not that one, not that one, not that one, this one. Okay, so we're going to share the video for those of you who don't know what happened. Like you've clearly been under a rock the last, I don't know how long you've been under a rock or something and you don't know what's going on. Take a look at this really quickly. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this. Hold on.
Jobs and Family Services is not posting.
Ms. Frenchko,
What?
please stand up, please.
Why?
All right, I got to pause it right here. What's going through your mind at that moment when you turn around and look at him? Do you remember that day? Like what went through your mind at that point?
Yes. Leading up to that, there was a letter that the Frank Fuda asked the clerk to read that was not on our agenda, and it was in the middle of our meeting. The clerk read the letter. The letter, he blocked my camera and I was I was going live, and I went around to the front to videotape what was going on because I live streamed the meetings. Then I went to my seat and they were asking me, both Frank Fuda, the one commissioner, was asking me if I was going to apologize to the sheriff. He said, "Are you going to apologize to him?" In that letter, he was demanding an apology. And the other commissioner said that I should not be insulting the top law enforcement officer. And instead of apologizing, I continued to talk about the problems that we're having in the jail. It's one of those same situations that I described where the medical doctor, the jail doctor who gets that contract year after year, was making millions of dollars but not providing services. And there were inmates who were dying and not getting their medical treatment. So they were angry that I exposed that. And instead of backing down and apologizing to them, I gave another example of someone who hadn't gotten proper care and actually passed away. So at that moment, he came up behind me, and I knew something was off because we don't ever have at that point in time. There were no deputies that provided security in those meetings. So it was odd to see these two people who work on the road. They were road deputies. They weren't even people. I was like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what they're doing here. Something's a little funny.
Huh.
But the one came up around, and when he said that, it was just a little shocking. I thought he was kidding, and I was like, "Are you serious?" I made this face like a double take, like you can see it.
I kind of. You look like, really? Like, seriously?
Very disruptive. You're disrupting the meeting.
Stand
up.
Right there.
Stand up.
Disrupting a meeting?
That's correct. You're being disruptive. Stand up.
You can be removed for
You
being
stand up
disruptive.
now. Being very disruptive. Put your phone down, ma'am.
Why?
Put your phone down, ma'am.
This is for my safety. I'd rather go out where there's videos. Do you have a video on?
I do not.
No. Put your phone down.
Yeah.
No.
We're going to place you in handcuffs.
I
You are now under arrest for
I have.
disruption of a
Whoa,
public
whoa, whoa.
meeting.
I am.
Wow. Yikes.
Unbelievable. So by now, like I said, everyone has seen this video, and it's made the rounds on social media, right? And the reality of this for us as outsiders, we see this and we go, okay, you can now be arrested for speaking out against law enforcement if they're doing the wrong thing. Um, Obviously fear was not an option for you, right? So, what made you do that? Like what gave you, and I don't know if the right word is no, I can't say that. I'll just ask it that way. What gave you that inner strength to do that? Because most people are scared when they're outnumbered in a situation like that. But what gave you that backbone to do that?
Uh, I believe God put us through a lot in order to prepare us for places we don't know we're going to end up. And I have been through a lot in my life, and nothing about any of that. Been through much more, and God got me through it. So there's nothing that anyone can do to me if I know that I'm doing what's right. They could ever cause me to back down or to be afraid, because I'm not. God doesn't put in you a spirit of fear, but of love and courage and a sound mind. It's just not who I am as a person who's going to back down.
So I got a question for you. And I read over some of the court case, but they arrest you. Do they actually take you to the jail and like process you and all?
Right. That's what they did. And I gotta say something. The one deputy, I feel terrible because the way this has been going out there, I've seen so many, like Antifa shared this video that went viral, and it broke my heart because, yes, those officers made a mistake, but at the same time, they were following their marching orders from their sheriff. And in an area like Trumbull County, the one guy got pulled off a road duty and said, "Hey, we need you to come over here and do this," So it makes me upset because the true person who was behind this was the sheriff and the two commissioners, and the other two were just brought in. They still were part of the conspiracy, but they were brought in to carry that out. The one actually was quite kind. I heard, if you hear it all, Wicks says, I mean, I'll admit it, the one did it gleefully and it was horrible, but the other one was very kind. And I could tell whenever he said, "Do you, are we going to do this?" He made it look like it's okay. He kind of leaned in, and it wasn't an intimidating thing. He actually was like respectful. "Commissioner Frenchko, have your phone. Here are your eyeglasses." Extremely gentleman-like behavior. The other one, not so much. But I appreciate law enforcement. I don't like everything that they always do, and I also would prefer that they would step up and say, "You know what? I'm not going to do this because it violates someone's constitutional rights, and I don't feel comfortable taking this order and going through it." That would be the ideal thing to do. But at the same time, it's been bothering me to have this person and them getting threats and things like that.
So one of the things that we're with you, we back the blue over here. We're very supportive of law enforcement, but there's always a however in that mix.
Yeah.
There's always a situation, I think, where we have to consider sometimes we have bad apples in the barrel. And this appears to be a case where it sounds like one officer was like, "Hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel so right." But you also have other officers critical of what was happening in the jail. And we've seen this across the country. Here in North Carolina, we had a situation with one county where basically they were keeping people in jail 7, 8 years without, preliminary hearings and all that kind of thing. What do you say to the folks, the criticisms that, "Oh, you only did this because you're, anti-police," or whatever the case may be? What do you say to that type of criticism?
That I did this because I was anti-police? You
Yeah,
mean
because one of the comments that I was reading is that you were only doing this because you're against the cops and you were trying to badmouth the sheriff. But what do you say to that kind of criticism?
it had nothing to do with anything except for the contract, and that should be something that's a complementary interest. Both Republicans and Democrats, if you're a person who's like pro efficient government where you're making sure that you're doing requests for qualifications, you're having oversight with the contracts. You want to prevent that liability. And when you have a jail doctor who continues to provide inept services that are causing people to go to the hospital and to sue the county, then in that case, that's a liability, and we need to address that contract. On the other hand, it's inhumane. 50% of the people in Ohio are judicially impacted. That goes for every skin color, for every political party. Everyone knows someone in their family or someone who's been in that system. And so on that side of it, we need to be able to trust that when our loved ones, because every criminal is still someone's loved one, is in there, that they're getting the services they need, because you've got liability and then it's a complementary interest. So that's something that I was advocating for. The woman who sent me the email complaining about her son is someone who I knew when I worked in real estate. And I had no reason not to believe that her concern about her son was incredible. So as it turned out, it was.
So if I may, what has been the community response to that, right? Because we see from afar, we see the online response, but locally there, as you walk about your community, is that a dog or a cat? What do we got?
I've rescued probably like 17 cats, me and my family.
Oh, you see what's laying right behind me right there, right?
Yeah, we're all...
That my two cats, Coco and Hugo, are laying back there on the couch in the backdrop.
Okay, this is Betty.
And then any moment you'll hear Sir Benjamin Buttons in here meowing to either come in or go out. So there you go. But yeah, what's been the community response there on the ground? Like I said, because obviously as outsiders we see online, but walking through your community, talking to the folks there, what has that been like?
The community, when they saw that happen, they couldn't believe it. They supported me by and large. They supported me, but there's been an effort since I've been elected, being that lone voice of balance. You know, we should have checks and balances, and there has been none. There's just been rubber stamping for decades here because of the establishment running things. So they made the immediate effort to try to mischaracterize me. And, she's crazy and this and that, like they do, using the media, which is a branch of the Democrat Party, in my opinion. And this just contributed to that narrative. Look at her, we've got her arrested. She's so this and that. And so there were people who took that in order to use that with the rest of to string it along with the rest of the narrative, kind of like they did to our president.
Absolutely.
All right,
go ahead, Ali. I
ladies
see.
and gentlemen. No, I was about to do the 22-minute mark. We're talking to Trumbull County Commissioner Niki Frenchko. First Amendment situation here, and I'm hoping some of our other elected officials that are watching are taking note about how to stand up for their people's rights. Are we going to do a commercial break real quick, or we just?
Yeah, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick, 10 seconds. We'll be right back right after this quick break.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're watching the Urban Conservative Podcast on this beautiful, I don't know what y'all weather is doing over here, but it's frigid out here in New York. It's like 30 degrees, but on this beautiful Monday night, you're watching the Urban Conservative Podcast. You're either watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever the name of these things are now. Who knows? It changes them every week. But we appreciate your support. We appreciate you sharing, liking, and subscribing to all of our content. We're talking with Trumbull County Commissioner Niki Frenchko. I want to talk about Salsa Guy.
He made it into the judge's opinion.
All right, let's do this. Let's pull up this video. And I need you to give us some context of what the folks are about to see here. All right, let me see. Ali, can you pull that video up with the orange shirt?
This one here?
Yeah, because I'm on the controls. All right, so I'm going to bring this back. And we're going to watch this, and then you're just going to give us some context to this.
Free.
What
you
do you
should
have
take
on?
advantage of
What do you
it.
what is
CDC, VA, Youngstown.
Is that a passport?
It's a vaccination card.
Good. Okay.
Oh,
It just, you have one of these?
Good. Okay.
vaccination card.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, look, it just said, do you have one of these?
Good. Okay.
Did you take a test when you left Mexico? I know for a fact, because I know 4 people that just came back from Cancun, and 72 hours before you, salsa off back here, salsa off back here, salsa off back here, salsa off back here.
Come on, guy. That wasn't even a salsa, bro. First up, but let's let him go.
You have to get a positive test or you stay.
Okay, I just have one, Marlo, I have one comment.
Yeah.
Number one.
All right, one at a time, and we're gonna go one at a time.
Yes, number one.
Okay, so what's up with that guy? What is really up with that guy? Like, what was that?
Okay, so and this is how we won our case. Let me get into some legal stuff and combine it with it. Viewpoint discrimination is whenever they other people to disrupt meetings left and right, shut you down, interrupt. But then if you say something that they disagree with, then they arrest you or remove you or shut the meeting down, like you've done to me. So this is an example that we used and our legal team used to show that, look, this was just simply viewpoint discrimination because this guy stood there during COVID and there was a deputy back there during that period of time, during the COVID time. And he stood there, watched the man come up to the dais. Before I started the video, he was even closer and he was taunting me and talking about not having a COVID vaccine. And to set this up, twice they'd tried to arrest me before. This wasn't the first time. And once it was because I wasn't wearing a face mask in my own building and they contacted the health department. And the second time was around this time because I came back from vacation and they wanted me to submit my medical records. And I said, under what legal authority are you requesting my medical records? And it was a statute for knowingly spreading a contagion and a criminal statute. So I was kind of shocked because I was like, these guys are really trying to arrest me. So this man saw me on a video with my family, and I have Puerto Rican heritage. And so we were salsa dancing. My daughter's part Cuban. And here we were on a vacation dancing, and he was kind of mocking my heritage at the same time, I thought. So
that was not salsa at all.
I'm rewinding it right now because I got to see it.
It was
again.
hysterical, but salsa that was not.
No.
Sir?
Before you, salsa off.
Oh, come on, guy.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
So this is just, my personal opinion. My personal opinion. People who act like that, I can tell they didn't get beat up when they were kids. They always got what they wanted. There's like, get out of my room, mom, kind of kids. Like, I've never got to say, get out of my room, mom. That never happened. It was like, this is my house. Like, what are you talking about? But people like that, I've encountered folks like that. And what happens is they never get shut down and they're allowed to act that way. He should have been removed from the meeting. That is disruptive and disrespectful to your elected leadership and the other citizens in the room.
The other side of this, and this is a microcosm. I'm glad we got you on to expose this, but this is just a microcosm of what's happening to conservative, America-loving people nationally in the media and to elected officials across the country. The idea that because you disagree or because you have a difference of opinion, you should be treated differently is exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, I got to ask this question. Given the situation is what it is now, right? Would you have done this any differently? Knowing like everything you've been through since this, would you really have done anything differently, or this was the right thing, you feel like, the way to approach all of this?
There was no other choice. What was that? I mean, I would not do anything differently, except for maybe my hair, because I wasn't feeling really good that day. And I was on medicine, and I was fighting some kind of infection on a prednisone taper, and I had no idea I was going to go viral looking that bad. So
prednisone is the devil, by the way. Oh my gosh, I took it one. No, I didn't like. Ooh.
Like I went back and looked just now. It didn't seem like a bad hair day. It didn't just for the record, didn't seem maybe it's blurry, but I don't know. I feel you.
So this
Go
video
ahead,
you
no.
got here, bro. What is this? Because I want. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, and in the opinion, right? There's some things that were the judge, if that's the right term, the judge agreed with you on, and there were some things he didn't. Right? Fair assessment.
Yes. The biggest things that they agreed were we won summarily. We won on summary judgment for the First and the Fourth Amendment violation. That's the freedom of speech, the constitutional tort, and then the other was the Fourth Amendment, the seizure, unlawful, arresting
Unlawful
me.
search and seizure. Yeah.
And then they were, and to win on summary judgment, I don't think people realize how huge that is. That means that the judge ruled without a jury as a matter of law that not one juror would disagree with his opinion because it was so brazen and flagrant that they violated mine. And the other thing that is hugely significant is that they had their sovereign immunity pierced. Not just those two deputies, but all of those who were involved. The two commissioners, the sheriff, and the deputies lost sovereign immunity. And we still have to go back for the civil conspiracy and the wrongful arrest under state law. However, without probable cause, I don't think that they're going to want to move forward with that.
Right, and I want everybody should understand what this means. That means that they could personally be held liable for this, right? Let's be clear about that. When you talk about that immunity, right? Speak to that a little bit about. So, do you go after them personally in their personal capacity at this point?
So that's what we did originally. We named the board of commissioners, the sheriff, and we named them all in their individual capacity. So, of course, the first thing that happens is a motion for summary judgment where they're trying to argue qualified immunity. And then we do ours as well. And then there's a motion in opposition. And then there's that final little rebuttal. But what they did do was they destroyed all of the evidence. So all of the text messages, among them all, they were required under court order and through discovery and through my personal request for preservation to maintain those records and to provide them. But every text message that they were able to manually delete, they deleted. And here's what's interesting. The sheriff claimed that he had no idea what was going on and that they did that without his input. However, he had text messaged the media about 5-10 minutes before I got arrested in order for them to be there to do a live at noon with my arrest. So a lot of
and to further establish this, there was a conspiracy here. This letter we have on the screen, right? Explain this to the folks because I think this is a key piece of this that goes along with the video they're going to see after they see this document. So give us a little context to what's on the screen right now as it relates to this document.
Right. So when I first started about this document happened about 6 months into my term. They were trying to pass a job off to someone internally after pushing out the previous clerk for, by the way, refusing to apologize to the commissioner. Okay, so they have these men have this habit of trying to demand public apologies. So she ended up retiring. They had a vacancy, and rather than advertising it externally or even posting it internally, they decided to hire someone internally. Just pass the job, not just do that, but to pass the job off to someone without any evaluation, without anything. And that goes against, like I said, I come in with a background in administration, government administration. I understand what best practices are. I'm trying to facilitate those for my county. That's what I got paid and elected to do. So they bring all the employees together to file complaints against me that turn into Ohio civil rights complaints and then other federal lawsuits, all in order to paint me in the media a certain way. And they started it at this point in time right here. That was about 6 months into my term. So this is a letter that is time stamped at the exact same time that they were having a secret meeting, which is a sunshine law violation, where you can hear the one coming out. And right before she comes out, she says, "Thank you. We have our directive." They signed the letter, gave it to me. And from that, about 5 or 6 complaints came about me that turned into federal litigation just so that they could have headlines against me.
Wow.
And that's the video you guys are going to see here of them coming out of the office. Look. Yep. Thank you. I heard it loud and clear. Thank you. We have our
Yeah,
direct.
that is not up for debate.
Yeah.
That was a clear. We have our directive.
Ooh, wasn't that a catty good morning? Ooh,
Go
that
back.
was
I
a
didn't hear it. Go back. I
that was
want
a
to hear
cow.
that.
Like, okay, that was a catty. That was a very catty good morning. The first one out, Ali.
Ooh, that was a yeah. How many of the people in that room were commissioners? Were
There
there
was the HR director. The other commissioner went to his office, and then when I walked in, he said the other one was at his desk if you kept on playing it. And I walked in there, and he says,
What was the meeting about?
Staff. The meeting was about what? Staff? What? Infection? What was it about?
no, he said it was a staff meeting. And that's what I said. If you're, first of all, anytime you have a meeting with the majority of the Board of Commissioners, a quorum of any public body in the state of Ohio, you have to have it properly noticed, and it has to be in public. So that was a sunshine law violation for them to conspire to do what they did. And it was flagrant and evident because the time on that video is the exact time that they signed the complaint. So,
and for those of y'all watching from North Carolina, that's what we call a violation of open meeting laws. That's
right.
it. Yeah, y'all. So, oh, buddy, that's a clear cut. Yeah, I've been in situations where 3 or 4 of the county commissioners were in a room and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna wait out here until one of them walks out," like because they didn't want to be in the room at the same time. And I'm like, "Oh, I get it." So.
So really quick, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk
Yikes.
about the current campaign, your re-election efforts, and unbeknownst to you, you have a lightning round to play right after this commercial message. We'll be right back.
Because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen. Yeah, go ahead. You do it. You do it. This is
All
your
right,
turn. Go. You go.
ladies and gentlemen, we're kicking it with Trumbull County, Ohio Commissioner Niki Frenchko. We're talking about First and Fourth Amendment rights, doing the right thing, all that fun stuff. And now you are up for re-election
Hold
again.
up. I have to table something. I know this is not top of the morning. This is
But
my first cup of Panera Bread coffee. I've never had coffee at Panera Bread. I am pleasantly surprised. I
Did
must
you
say.
hazelnut it? Did you hazelnut it?
No, they made me a caramel something or another, and
Oh, okay.
I just had to share that with the folks. I've never had Panera Bread coffee, and
I'll do a hazelnut if that's all that's around. I'll hazelnut from Panera.
Sorry to interrupt. It was just the caramel hit me. It was really good. Go. You do what you do.
So you're up for re-election. Talk to us about that. What's going on with the campaign? How are things treating you right now? Talk to the folks about your campaign.
Okay, so I have right now we're turning a little more red over here in Trumbull County. And we have the last election, we had a person who was a lifelong Democrat Central Committee person cross over in order to run as a Republican and slipped in. And we have a few more people who are trying to do that. Beware of rhinos this primary from the top to the bottom of the ticket. Okay. So right now I have someone who has been a lifelong Democrat, switched over in 2022, and has a used car salesman, no offense to that, but also owns the building where there's an Asian massage parlor, which is suspected of human trafficking. You can't make this up. So that's what I'm up against here in Trumbull County. And a very fractured party where sometimes I've heard this said, and I kind of get it. There's a uniparty at some level where you've got the establishment Republicans, the establishment Democrats, and they're all kind of against we the people, if that makes any sense. And I see that, they want people who will be puppets and carry out their agendas instead of the agenda that's in the best interest of the people. So I still, I'm running my race. It's grassroots. It's me. I've got a lot of support from the regular people in Trumbull County who just know that I'm not connected. I never have been, and I'm here to do what's right. I started to implement some of the things that they hadn't done before, like procurement policies. I came in, I remember the first time I went in, sat down in another commissioner's office, another one picked up the phone and they said, okay, the auditor said that we can spend $400,000 on this building, so we'll just put it on the agenda. And I was like, one, sunshine law violation. Two, where's our procurement policy? And I had to make our first one. We had employees who hadn't been clocking in. They were getting extra vacation days without anything being documented. Bids, we had pre-award contact where you're not, when you put something out to bid, you're not allowed to communicate with the bidder. That's called a bidding irregularity. They're basic nuts and bolts of just governance, but we don't have a county administrator, and the people who have made their way up have learned by looking around them. And then I feel like it's a banana republic, like on some level, what's right they think is, what's wrong they think is right. And then when I'm trying to suggest best practices, if I had $1 for every time they said, but we've always done it this way, I'd be able to fund my campaign real well. So.
Wow. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, many of you know when you're on the Urban Conservative.
And we didn't. Y'all know we didn't tell her. We didn't tell her. So
no, we didn't tell you this was going to happen, but it is precedent that the first time you come on the Urban Conservative, you have to go through a lightning round. Now, this lightning round is designed for the people to get to know who you really are, because policy positions are one thing, but they want to know the important stuff. So you answer these questions, you make it through the lightning round, you get the screen full to plug your website, plug whatever it is you need to plug, and we're going to start with the lightning round. Question for you. Who's a better Puerto Rican star, Jennifer Lopez or Rosie Perez?
I can't. You can't make
fair. That's your answer. Okay. I'm next.
I'm a Rosie Perezer, for the record. I like Rosie Perez.
I'm Rosie too. I'm Rosie. Okay. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Okay. Go ahead, Ali.
Okay. Schwarzenegger or Stallone?
I think Schwarzenegger. Isn't he a Republican?
Say again?
Isn't he a Republican?
I don't think Schwarzenegger was a Republican. I think he ran as a Dem.
Okay, never mind.
We'll take it. Okay. Nike, Adidas, or Reebok?
Adidas.
Okay.
All right. Pizza or chicken wings?
Chicken wings.
Okay.
Fried or buffalo? Buffalo or spicy?
I like garlic. Something with garlic.
Garlic parmesan.
Parm.
Woo.
Garlic parm.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, go ahead, Ali. Go. You.
All right. Here you go. So, two-part question here. You are stuck on a desert island forever. You are never going to leave this desert island. You get to pick one meal for breakfast every day. You get to pick one meal for lunch every day. You get to pick one meal for dinner every single day for the rest of your life. You get one book and you get one album. So every day for the rest of Niki Frenchko's life on this island, what are you doing for breakfast every day?
Avocado.
Just one
Avocado. Well, I mean, it'll be avocado toast with an egg.
Okay. Lunch? What are we doing for lunch?
Same thing for the rest of your life every day. Lunch, what do you got?
Watermelon fruit. I can
Really?
Yes. Okay. I get sad whenever it's fall. When I see the pumpkins switch over from the water. It's like this.
Okay, what are we having for forever dinner? What are we doing?
Thanksgiving dinner. I make my Thanksgiving dinner, and my turkey is bomb. My stuffing is homemade. I freeze up like 10 meals or 14 because it's my favorite meal in the world.
Okay, so Thanksgiving dinner. You've got one book that you're gonna have with you on this island for the rest of forever. What do you got?
King James version of my Bible.
Excellent. And then one music album. You got one album to listen to forever. What do you got?
I got two right here. It's either going to be Earth, Wind, and Fire or Dr. Dre, The Chronic.
Oh, I'm not even. Wow. Okay,
for the record,
great.
I listened the other day. I had to leave out at like 4 a.m. So I listened to The Chronic the whole morning. It was like from 4 to like 6:30. It was full Chronic morning that day.
Okay, I gotta. Okay, so. All right, here we go. Okay, you're gonna get into a fight, right? There's no way around it. There's gonna be a physical altercation. Okay, who would you rather have with you? Would you rather have Michelle Obama or would you rather have Rosie O'Donnell?
Rosie.
Okay, fair. Fair question.
Doesn't she seem like...
Rosie seems spunky. Like she could do something.
I love spunk. Ladies and gentlemen, Niki Frenchko has won the lightning round here on the Urban Conservative. The screen is yours, ma'am. Please tell the people how they can support you and your campaign.
My campaign, if you want to support it financially, is Win Red, Niki Frenchko. It's a you can Google search it, or I could stick it somewhere on here if you'd let me. Just web search Win Red, Niki Frenchko, NIKIFRENCHKO, and every penny helps. Like literally, my signs are $4 or $5 each, and stamps. We're going to be chasing ballots, and campaigns are expensive, and people like me need to stay in office. And if you see a little bit of yourself and what I'm trying to do, I encourage you to run for office too, because we need people who really care and aren't going to be bought, paid for puppets or anything, that are just going to be there to do what's right. So
y'all see it on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, secure.winred.com/friends of Niki Frenchko. Donate today. Support the sister running for county commissioner out in Trumbull County, Ohio. This has been her first time on the Urban Conservative, hopefully not the last. As we share with each and every one of our guests, we know time is the one thing you will not get more of, so we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us here on the Urban Conservative. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a Monday night. We've been talking with Niki Frenchko, again, Trumbull County Commissioner. We'll be live and direct with you all tomorrow for top of the morning here on the Urban Conservative. As well, we've got a Superfly interview coming up on February 19th with Jim Key, who's running for North Carolina State Auditor. For my twin brother down there, Raheem Architect Soto, I'm Abdul Ali. That's Niki Frenchko down there at the bottom. You checked out the Urban Conservative podcast on a Monday night. Peace and love, everybody.
Because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.